If you've been trading iron condors and recently you might have had an iron condor blow up in your face, especially if you're doing like 80% probability iron condors, it's bound to happen. In this video, I'll show you how these things can happen, even though the probabilities are in your favor and things can go fine for many cycles and many iron condors time and time again, especially if you're doing shorter duration, like let's say 0 day, 5 day, 10 day iron condors, but then things can go sour and south very quickly. So I'm going to show you a couple of things regarding this. We'll talk about an 80% probability iron condor. We'll also get into some ideas to tweak these concepts and how to think about it. And I'll give you kind of a little insight and a few little tips with that as well. Now, if you're brand new here, I'm Sasha, the options coach. Been teaching people to trade options over the last decade. I've done a lot of great classes, including one on iron condors deep dive. So I'll give you some insight on this. If you're interested, you can check it out on our website. So just check it out on optionsblackbelt.com. Anyways, if we're going to build an iron condor, one thing to think about, and by the way, there's different types of iron condors. I'm talking about selling an iron condor. So we're looking at specifically selling an 80% probability iron condor, 80% off of the delta. Now, if we're looking at it, there's also reverse iron condor where you can buy iron condors. So when we look at selling an iron condor, let's just make sure everybody kind of understands what's happening. When we go in and we sell an iron condor, here's kind of what the iron condor looks like from a risk profile picture. Now, if you're buying an iron condor, it's going to look a little bit different. So you're looking at something more along these lines. So this is kind of buying where you need and want movement. Okay. Whereas when you're selling, you want things to stay and contain. Okay, so you're trying to look for containment in terms of probabilities. Now, the way that we go into looking at these iron condors and we start looking and building an 80% probability iron condor is we go in and we'll do something at a 10 delta on this side and a 10 delta on this side. This together creates a 20 delta that we can take off of 100, gives us an 80% iron condor probability based on the deltas. Now, that's not necessarily the probability of the iron condor, which is a little bit different because you have to take into account the credit. So again, there's different types of iron condors in the calculations, and we need to be very specific. This is something that I could spend a full hour on discussion. So before I get a lot of heat behind this, let's just take a look at something simple as far as we're going into an SPX. And since people are doing a lot of shorter duration stuff, let's just go into 2 DTE over here. So if we're going into a 2 DTE on the iron condor, what we're going to do in order to build that iron condor, if we're looking at a delta basis, we'll look at this 10 delta on this side. Okay, that'll give us 10 delta probability over here. And then what we'll do is over here is another 10 delta. Now, take, for example, that when we're looking at building this, okay, that's not a perfect 10 delta. We're going to go to that 9 delta right there. But if we start building and constructing this iron condor, and then we'll go over here, this is a delta equal iron condor. So we'll go again, 10 wide. And now we've got ourselves a 10 wide iron condor. And let me delete this and lower that here. And now if we go to, there we go, we've got ourselves an 80% or probability delta iron condor. Now, some people are going to say, well, no, it's 90%. Like if you're one of those, leave the channel right now, because what you're doing is you got 10% on this side and you got 10% on this side. This overall creates this 80% out of the total of 100. Now, that's not to say the probabilities of the full iron condor, because you do have to take into account the actual credit. So if we were to do that, what we have here is a 10 wide iron condor, which in terms of risk is the width. Okay, so the risk is the width. So if we have this, well, what does that mean? Well, we take that, we've got how much risk? $1,000 of risk, right? So you got $1,000 of true risk less that credit of 195. And if we have that, that gives us the 805 maximum real risk. Okay, so now we can say, oh, okay, the real risk here is actually 805. Okay, well, now it's 810. It's wiggling around a little bit. So let's just bump this up to $2 even. Okay, so now when we look at this probability of this iron condor, if you look at it, we actually have right there the real risk of the credit. Okay, so we take the real risk of the credit. So we take that $1,000, okay, divide that by the real risk over the total. We'll do it this way: total risk, and total risk because of the width is 1,000. Okay, so if we go in with 800, divided that by 1,000, you get 80. You see? So it's 80%. So you have to take that credit into account. Now, I will say that's not exactly always works out that way. It's just by happenstance. But if you move these things around, sometimes you will get a little bit of a different figure in terms of the actual iron condor probabilities versus the delta probability iron condor. So, okay, with that aside, you can definitely also go deeper into this with our class. But let's just make sure we have that clear before everybody gets a little bit paranoid in the comments here. Now, once we have something like this cooked up, okay, a lot of times what people do in terms of positioning iron condors is they don't think in terms of sets or numbers, in terms of spreading risk in different durations and so on. So they concentrate risk in a duration. So when we look at things like this, they'll pack on, let's say they got a $20,000 account. They might pack on, let's say $16,000 because they've been winning these iron condors. It could be a 2-day, could be 0-day, could be 14-day, but usually shorter duration. And when we have these 80% probability iron condors, in most cases, they'll win and do just fine. But what people do is, they'll hang on to these, and a lot of times they're making good money. They can make $3,000, they can make $4,000 letting things expire. So here you got 3K, 4K, 2K coming in from these iron condors, and you're doing it consistently. And it's like, man, it's working well. I got to put more money in. And you're concentrating risk, and you're powering into these 2-day, 0-day, all these different types of iron condors. And then what happens? A big move happens. Now, it could be to the upside, it could be to the downside, but something starts to happen and move. And then what happens is that now you're down maybe 10K. Okay. Not to mention the volatility starts picking up, because now instead of the 10K, it might actually be like 13K, or it looks like that, trying to get out of the position. So you've built up a lot of these iron condors, and, but then one of these big nasty moves happens and it starts to blow up your last batch. So maybe now it takes 10 wins just to break even. So it's something really to think about, because iron condors, they do have this risk to reward where you might be risking, let's say 8 to make 1. Okay, it's not the same as, let's say, a vertical spread that's at the money, because if you take a vertical spread that's at the money, like let's say something like this that's a little more directional, you kind of have a much more closer risk 1 to make 1 scenario. Okay, so risk 1, make 1. This one's not exactly perfect. We're after hours right now, but the principle is the same, is that you might be risking 1 to make 1 when you do these kinds of things. Let's see if we can get something a little bit more normalized here. So risk 2,000 to make like 1,300, but it's much more closer to what you're going to risk to make, rather than on an iron condor, you're risking like 800 to make $100. Now, again, you're winning in a lot of cases, but then when you lose bigger. So when you do these iron condors and you have these higher probabilities, you have to think in terms of, and it's one of the things we covered actually in the trading buckets class right here. So you can check this one out if you're watching this and you're a member and you have access to our classes. In the trading buckets class, one of the things we've talked about was we go in and we have, bucket, let's say, 1, then you have bucket number 2, 3, 4, and so on. So you might build different buckets around it. But here's where you have like these different iron condors. Well, as one batch of iron condors, let's say you made, I don't know, let's just say 2K. Then you made another one, let's say 1K, then another one 1K. Okay, so you're making like, and then this one over here, you lost, let's say 2K. Okay, well, the first one over here, okay, this one is good. It's green. You go on, you put your normal size on. This one also normal size, but this one you actually lost on. So what do you do? So when you come back to this next batch or next set, okay, what's happening is that, okay, you go in, you might put on your 5 contracts, but I have to think in terms of layers. Like I'm going to have like multiple buckets. So I'll go in and, put my normal size. Maybe I'll do, my 10 contracts of iron condors. Then again, here, 10 contracts. Then again, here, 10 contracts. Here, I had a $2,000 loss. So what do? I could either go to a 5 contract and just try to pay off and chip away at the loss. I could go to like a 12 contract, but what that does is kind of increase my risk a little bit, but it tries to pay off some of that loss. The other way to do that is actually split the load and add another group, let's say an iron condor for another day or for another time. And that way you change this risk parameter around and say, well, I'm going to distribute that risk, and I have a 1K loss here. And then I also have in this fifth basket also $1,000 loss. So now what you're doing is split loading. So this way, if you keep working iron condors in these different groups, you go ahead and pay off, $500 here, then another $300 here, then another $200 here, then another $600 here. And eventually this one gets paid off. So you can clear that group. And this one may take, another few iron condors by the time you pay it off, and then you clear that group. In the meantime, you're still operating these other groups. So that's one way to kind of do it, mentally from an accounting perspective. That way your risk doesn't concentrate to try to make up and pay back that loss. It's much more disciplined. It's much more tactical, and it keeps you more sane mentally and psychologically at peace. So you can try that approach. The other way to kind of approach it is when we go in and look at iron condors here in this way. So let's say we've got kind of these iron condors set up. What a lot of people do, at least at a professional grade level, what we think about is if we're doing shorter duration, we usually will look at having or carrying some positive Vega related strategies. And what that might mean is also offsetting some of that risk. It could be with some verticals that are further out. Like for this type of position, you might do verticals simply because, what happens is it's just, it's a position that's a vertical based position rather than a, let's say singles. So you might carry some verticals over here, and you might carry some longer duration verticals here, and they are cheaper. And the reason for that is you might say, well, I'm going to rotate many more iron condors before, let's say, these verticals kind of get into trouble. And one is a little bit wider than the other. This is why, because this one is 10 wide, this one's 25 wide, just because of the strikes. So I need a lot less contracts here on the call side. But what you're doing here is I'm going to show you this on a split expiration view. And let's see if this will work. What you're doing here is you have your shorter duration iron condor right here, but then over here, you're going to have your tail end risk. So this way, if the price does move quite a bit, the reverse iron condor right here is going to start building in value, or it's going to start making you some money because it's going to move, and it's going to move it into a more favorable situation. So if you look at this iron condor, well, let's say the market sells off quite significantly. Well, if it gets into that level, you can actually make a decent amount, like maybe 5,000, maybe 6,000, because remember the theta is going to kick in a little bit, so this will kind of dip. So you'll lose money on these positions, but remember you're rotating iron condors on the shorter duration. But if it pops really high right here, maybe even if it just goes over here, you make 4 or 5 grand. Granted, you might lose like 5 or 6 on the other one, but at least it keeps you kind of broken even. And then over here, you could make like 3 or 4 grand. So the point is you're carrying some insurance. Yes, it slowly bleeds you. That's the cost of insurance. Slowly bleeds you from these other iron condors that are shorter duration. But the good news is you'll be able to do many more of the other shorter duration iron condors in order to kind of pay off some of that insurance, because that insurance is longer dated, whereas this iron condor right here will be shorter dated. So the theta anyways will be much better. Like let's say this one's a 3,000 theta, and then over here you're going to take a little bit of a theta hit since you're buying more more defensive iron condors. And I'm going to go ahead and bump up a little more contracts for you just so you can kind of see, so we can kind of smooth out a little bit of that risk there. There you go. And even then, the theta is cut quite significantly. You can see we're down to 2,500 theta, but it's still much better because you have some tail end risk. That's more insured now, whereas before it's a 3,200 theta almost. So you do cut your theta quite a bit, but think about it. It's good to have a little bit of those longer form insurance policies just in case things go wild. And depending on how you construct it, that's a little bit deeper discussion for what we've done in some of the classes over here. So if you're interested, you can check out kind of the reverse iron condor, because that's how you might insure those iron condors, or the other iron condor class. Anyways, hope that helps, gives you a little insight. So looking at some of these 80% probability iron condors and how you might calculate them, hope you got a little idea for yourself and maybe what you might be doing wrong, and gives you some ideas. But if you're interested in checking out some of the classes, feel free, check out our website, or maybe I'll see you in one of our future live classes, live sessions, or even maybe I'll get a chance to speak with you one-on-one, where I do some coaching with people and check out their portfolios, kind of do a review, third-party analysis, and give you some ideas and insights on things you could improve. So feel free to reach out, check out the website. Maybe we'll do a quick call. If not, maybe I'll check you out in one of the classes or get to speak with you. Other than that, enjoy the free video here on YouTube, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.